Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the New York session. As usual, let's start with the dollar index. Okay, let's look at what we have so far. So over the weekend or last Friday, I made mention that we are likely going to be going up on the dollar index, and this week the British pound will be the best trade to go and attack previous week low. So so far we've seen a big move away from this fair value gap into, I think last Friday I wanted us to break this and then continue going up, but price didn't do that. We closed just going sideways, and now we've traded through the gap. London formed an auto block here, and then we screamed for the previous week high. It has just barely touched it, so I think we might push a little bit more, and I think I gave the 97.60 level as a potential draw. So that's basically what I'm expecting them to go for. So I expect this high here, 97.49, to be taken, and then probably trade to this old low over here, and that low comes in at 97.60. Okay, so that's the next upside objectives. 97.49 and then 97.06 60. All right, and this New York session we might be keying off from this fair value gap into it. Now the best trade for this will be euro is yet to attack previous week low. It's struggling a little bit because you have this New York fair value gap that we've hit it once, so we shouldn't actually have any problem, but it still acts at a little bit of resistance plus time of the day. So it's paused and it's waiting for New York session. So any pullback, I think the opposite is true over here, where this gap here should hold and send price to attack the previous week low. The British pound should also do that, attack this previous week low. So between the two, I like the British pound because the British pound is pulling back. Okay, the British pound is pulling back. So let me find right in here. Right in here, we should see price reject and continue going down. So selling with time and leaving your stop loss just above, I think you have this small gap and the up candle plus this old New York session low here, just a little bit right there, do, and then you aim for the previous week low, or during this New York session wait for a sharp down move like this. You want a sharp down move like this below an up candle that will create a void or a gap, and you want to sell that one into this low here. So if you get something like that, then you sell it to go down. That is what I'm waiting for. Okay, now you need to watch this pair, the euro pound, for that to happen. So watch this low, 086063. Watch that low, because once they attack that low, we are still dipping inside a fair value gap. Okay, we are still dipping inside that gap there. That's what price should have done on Friday, right? With this up candle, they should have opened, take this low out, and then go up, but they engineered equal low. So as price is coming down now, as soon as they take this low out and then start rejecting, that is when you go on to the British pound. Okay, so watch euro pound as it's dropping to this low. Once they dip in, go on to British pound, and you might see a sharp rejection on the M15, and you can start looking for the sell to go down, because right now they're using that weakness on euro pound to send the euro down to that low. Okay, but since it's too close to the target, which is here, and it's not bad, okay, this low and this low, it's not bad, just that the profit margin is not, in my opinion, is not worth it. If you sell here, if you, I don't know, your stop loss, can put it anywhere in here, because it can pull back and probably stop you out before doing that. So I prefer the British pound, because it has pulled back, so there's range, or there's room to the downside. So watch euro pound. Dollar yen, I think last week I made mention they were going to trade exactly in here, first here and then there, 145. That is where it's heading for. Now on the daily time frame, the actual level that it's going for is the fair value gap up there. So it comes in at 145.94. That is the actual level that I think price is reaching for. So you know, you can keep looking for longs on this, especially on the H4, right? It might pull back, and then you look for the buy to continue going up there. Okay, don't chase it as it is now, let it pull back, and when it does pull back, you're gonna look for the same price action that I mentioned on the British pound. On the M15, you're gonna be looking for the same price action, and you can then look for the buy after the sharp move. Okay, okay, so that is that for the dollar yen. Gold, last week we talked about this gap holding to send us here, which was 3292 level. That is still the case. I'm expecting price to trade there. You can see when the market opened, we went in there and then we dropped down. I was still in a sell. I still have it. I've taken partial right below this low this morning, and I'm expecting the rest to continue going down. Ultimately, I think it might go for this low. From the monthly time frame perspective, we might go for this low, but for now, let's look for just that, and then we see what's gonna happen once we do that. Maybe we might get a pullback, because today is Monday. We might get a pullback and then down, then down, then we look for a sell maybe up in here to continue going down. If you're not already in a sell, I think it might be, I would say, a bit too late. You can get a scalp today. You can get a scalp today on the M15 to come to that level. Okay, so this impulse leg, this pullback, and a scalp to trade here for today. So what I mean is something like this. Oops. To come here. Okay, that's the only trade you can take, because this gap will definitely kind of give a pullback. Okay, that gap will give a pullback, hence you want to be careful looking for beyond that. It can go beyond that, but as you all know, New York session gaps are not to be played with. So you can get this for the day and then, you know, should be done. Okay, moving on to crude oil. I think crude oil, I made mention that that was also going to come for this equal high. On Friday, we were looking for it to reject and go up, but we couldn't, and the market closed. We gapped down into the New York auto block that formed, and so far we've rejected. I'm looking for a move to attack the previous week high. So again, this New York session, you're looking for a move to attack New York previous week high, this equal high. So that's the drawn liquidity, 6758 and 6783. Okay, and then ES last week I was looking for, or I'm looking for price to go into this fair value gap. We've gapped up, so as it stands, based on how price has gapped to the upside, this gap is likely gonna hold. Had we gap down, then we will look for that as the drawn liquidity before we continue going up. But since we gapped up, that is likely gonna hold and then take us up here. So resuming going higher on the ES, but during the New York session from 2 p.m. going, keep an eye. Everything is possible. Okay, I'm not fixed we need to go all the way up there. If New York session gives you a 1 hour immediate rejection on the 1 hour, let's say something like this, the opposite of this to the downside, we could be coming back to fill the gap and probably trade through it, because on the daily time frame we are extremely overbought. Okay, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up candles consecutively. So price is likely gonna give a potential retracement. Hence, be careful with longs. I'll rather look for rejection for a sell. Now this week, probably, oops. If we take out the previous week high, price is likely gonna reject. So watch that as well. In case we don't get New York to give a rejection here and you go for the previous week high, you can start looking for an immediate rejection after that. So once we take out the weekly high, you can start looking for an immediate rejection once we go above the previous week high. So keep an eye on that as well. Okay, so um, with that said, let's move on to the crypto market and see what's happening. Let's start with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we had this fair value gap holding. I think from the weekly perspective, we don't want to see price come all the way back down. So what is currently happening, it's probably the low of the week forming, because last week we closed above previous week high. So it's the low of the week forming. Hence, inside right here, in here, watch that. Okay, watch that level, because we might reject from that and then start going up again. So watch that. Now that will translate to all of them. Okay, so you're watching this fair value gap over here, which comes in, the low of it is 108,308, and then the high of it is 108,146. Yeah, watch that for a potential rejection, and then you start going up. How do you trade it? You can trade it by waiting, let price hit this, give you a big move away from it, either on the 1 hour or even on the H4. So let's say this candle, and then the next one opens, it touches this gap here, then it shoots up like this, closing above this down candle. Then you buy the next one to start going back up again. Okay, so that's your condition to look for the buy. If this does not happen, don't look for anything. And whilst that is happening, then you can switch to the Ethereum market as well. That also has a nice gap down here. Solana, that can also go for this low before the rejection. XRP, XRP, it's showing more of strength by closing above this down candle. So probably the best one would be to look on XRP to continue going up from here. Okay, or if it does not hold, then the same thing will apply. But I think XRP is showing more strength, so look for this to continue going up. Hype, we are still not interested. We're looking for that weekly fair value gap to be hit first. Okay, so that is that for the hype. We are looking for that weekly gap. Until then, we are not interested in anything here. AI, still playing around on the consolidation. So I think, when was it? Saturday. Yeah, Saturday I was looking at it, and at some point I saw it appear. I was excited that they were going to kind of create the first fair value gap away from it, but all of a sudden price came right back down again. So we are still inside that consolidation, waiting for a displacement to happen. Fingers crossed we will get that first initial move away, and we get more excitement going forward. So patient with this. Let the consolidation show us its intention, whether up or down, by moving away from it first. Okay, and then that's key. I think over the weekend we came back to attack the lows that I mentioned they were going to. and now I think we're gonna wait for a potential rejection. Now, quick small mini lesson here, right? So when we are taking out a low and you want to see if price is gonna be a buy, don't be the first person in. Wait. If it's gonna reject, you get an order block and a fair value gap. Wait, you're gonna get an order block or a fair value gap. Once that happens, that is your clue that they've accumulated below the low. The same way, when you have a fair value gap in the context of bullishness and we dip into it, again, wait, you're gonna get an order block or a fair value gap. Those are going to be your confirmations that price is gonna continue. If we get the first impulse away from it, mostly after a down candle, you can buy the next one. So if we get, let's say here, the first move away and you close above the down candle, that is your confirmation. Then you can buy the very next candle. Okay, if you don't get that, don't do anything, because chances are it's not ready to go up yet. The same thing that I've just described on BTC, Ethereum, Solana, XRP has given something like that, right? Which is, we took out this low. What do you mean? We took out this low here, and then the first move away closed above this down candle. That is why I highlighted this this one here for potential buy. Okay, so that is pretty much it for now. Let's go back to currencies and look at the euro pound. Okay, so euro pound has dipped below the previous day's low, and based on time of the day and day of the week, Monday trading down, which is perfect, taking out Thursday's low, which is again perfect. So same thing what I've just described. You're looking for immediate rejection close above a down candle. Whilst that is happening, watch this British pound on the M15. You're gonna see an immediate close, and then you look for the sell to continue going down. Or I think crude oil has given you something like that. So this is what I'm describing here. This fair value gap and the auto block right here, especially the auto block, they touch it, and then this first shift, this big move away, that in of itself gives you that candle, the opening of that candle, there's one here, as your entry, and then look for continuation to the upside. You can leave stop loss below this, and then we continue going up. Okay, based on time. Okay, so everything is based on the element of time. Okay, so I think everything is done for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you same time tomorrow, and hopefully you get a nice trade today, either on euro, pound, gold, crude oil, or ES. And if you like the cryptos, XRP. Until then, enjoy your day.